The regular meeting to order Tuesday, October 6th. Would you please stand and join me in pledge allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, Deb?
Nelson?
Yes.
Knapp?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Goodchild?
Yes.
Wick?
Yes.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Is there a second? Is there a second?
There's all kinds of. Did you hear that? Was an echo.
That's what I did. I couldn't figure out what was the echo or was the truth. Anyway, motion been approved and second for the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I'd like to welcome everybody in the chamber today, and I hope you at home can hear us. We're trying our best to speak right into the microphones here, so bear with us. Also, the representative sports writer from Sentinel, good to see you here. And we're going to move on. First thing we got today is a hearing, and it's on Cleveland Park. It's September 15th, 2020 meeting. The council set this as a date and a time to hear public comments on plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimate of the cost of Cleveland Park Restroom Improvement Project. The project involves the construction of a new restroom on the east end of Cleveland Park, adjacent to the new playground and future parking lot. It is possible this project could get started this year. However, realistically, early in 2021. The intent is to bid the parking lot and the sidewalks early in 2021 and fiscal year 22 construction. The recommendation is I'm going to open the meeting, or the hearing, excuse me, and ask for any written or oral objections or comments to the project, to adopting the plan, specifications, form of the contract, and estimated cost. At this time, I'm going to open the hearings. Is there anyone that is asked for a written or oral objection to the comments to this hearing? Hearing none, I will once again ask if there's any question or any written or oral objections to the project and plans we have for Cleveland Park. Hearing none, I'm going to close the hearing at this time. The administration recommends the approval of the council to proceed. And here's what we've got laid out: is receive the bids on October 29th, 2020 at 10 a.m. Award the contract on November 3rd, 2020. And the late start of it will be May 1st of 2021. The completion date is June 30th, 2021. The estimated financial project estimate is $90,000 to be paid out of the public facilities improvements. At this time, if I'd ask for any questions from council, if none.
It takes 13 pages to spend $90,000 on a bathroom.
Yeah, and we cut that down, by the way.
Make sure you had enough information.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2037 on plans, specs, form of contract, estimate of cost for the 2020 Cleveland Park Restroom Improvement Project.
Second to the motion.
Motion made and second to adopt the resolution number 20-37 on plans, specifications, the form of contract, and estimated of cost for the 2020 Cleveland Park Restroom Improvement Project. Do we have a roll call on that, Ben?
Goodchild?
Yes.
Wick?
Yes.
Knapp?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Motion carried. The next thing is our general discussion. And the way we handle our general discussion is if anybody has any good comments to talk about the city or any complaints or concerns, we ask you to step up to the microphone state your name and address, and the council is always willing to listen to the concerns that you may have, but they do not make any recommendations today. Hearing or seeing none, we'll move on to the thumbs up award. Mike?
I thought I'd offer one thumbs up in the direction of Brian Schultz and his crew as the golfing season is nearing a close. As nice as it is today, it's not closed yet. But I think the job they've done this season, given all the circumstances, and his crew on those three golf courses has been terrific. And they've absorbed a lot of the extra business that made its way as people had opportunities to play golf instead of other things. And so they were quite busy, despite what we'd expect. So thumbs up to Brian and his crew.
I would second that 100%, Mike. When this first broke, why they have followed the plans that the city set out, the governor set out, just as the city did, and they have done an absolutely tremendous job. And I think we've had, I haven't seen the figures, but I think we've had an awful good year out there as far as the golf course is concerned.
Yes.
Clark?
Yeah, I was gonna just give a quick thumbs up to most of the, oh, sorry. I wanted to give a quick thumbs up to city employees. You mentioned, as this thing broke, basically March 1st, the golf course is a absolute perfect one to look at. But you have the library, you have the arts center. A lot of people have really gone over and above to keep things running as normal as they can. Scott Knight, police department, fire department, we've got some darn good city workers, and I don't know that we say that enough, but just thumbs up to city workers. So
I would second that 100%, Clark. You're very well right, and thanks for bringing it up. I recognize it. Rex?
Yeah, well, I think that you're gonna find out that this was a coordinated effort on us to explain what we're talking about. I know myself for the last 6 months have not done a very good job of saying thank you. Or if I did, I didn't say it enough. So I was just singling out 3 groups. The police, the fire, the ambulance, the EMS, and say, thank God for all those people. Thank God for all the workers there. And I don't want a job at any of those 3 places. So,
Don't worry about it.
yeah, don't worry about me applying, and Dave, don't worry about me applying for firefighters. I'll just cheer you on when you go by, so. But thank you. And I mean that sounds kind of corny because we've all been saying it, but we're kind of feeling the same thing, that if we wouldn't have these great people, we wouldn't have this great city.
and it wasn't scripted either.
No, we didn't talk about it at all. I had it written down before Park starts and before mine starts, so that's what I got.
If you're like I am, you take a lot for granted until something like this comes up and we're faced with it.
Absolutely.
And the things, and how we're handling them and things like that. So it just reaffirms you really do appreciate what people do in this town. Ken?
Probably the only thing I didn't hear was the hospital. They certainly have
They've done a good job.
done an exceptional job of getting people tested and taking care of the patients as they need to. And the clinic is a very busy place, but they're all doing their job,
Right.
doing it well.
Steve?
Thank you, city workers.
Good. I got one, it's kind of something different, that's never, I don't think, been held here in the Mars, but Chad Pecos and his wife Trudy, last Saturday night, had a Halloween program out at our RV park. And in visiting with Chad and the figures he shared with us this week, I think there was like over 700 and some kids attended, and roughly 2,000 people went through that place. So that's something very, very unusual. Everybody had a great time and they participated, and it brought a lot of trailers into our RV park, so I'd like to let them know that. Moving on to the consent items. All items listed on the consent agenda will be enacted by one motion. There'll be no separate discussion on those items unless a request is made prior to the time the council votes on the motion. Today I've got 4 of them. Approval of the September 15th, 2020 regular meeting minutes. Number 2 is a list of the bills for period ending 9/30 of 20. Number 3 is the renewal of liquor license, KC's and La Fiesta. And number 4 is the urban revitalization tax exemption requests. Does anybody want to pull any of these before we make a motion on them?
Motion to approve consent items 1 through 4.
Second.
Motion been made and second to approve the consent items 1 through 4. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Opposed, excuse me, motion carried. Okay.
Yeah, yours is better, that stuff, that's correct for quite a while. That hasn't quite been corrected for those motions in quite a while, so you're doing a pretty good job at it.
You ought to hear when I leave here. Okay, moving on to the action items. Lamar's Police Department has a hiring and residency policy in place that requires employees to reside within a specified distance of the city of Lamar's limits. We've been notified by the Iowa Law Enforcement Academy that such a requirement must be made by ordinance and not simply by policy. Attached is a copy of the ordinance adding a new section to Chapter 35, Police Department. The recommendation is of the administration and the police chief to recommend the approval of this ordinance as due. And I see Kevin is here. Maybe you can explain that a little more in detail.
Yeah, I can.
Kevin, if you would, please.
Kind of as a recruitment aid, we like to draw upon potential candidates that could live up to 30 to 50 miles away. And we give them individuals up to 6 months to move into Lamar's. We give them up to a year if they have a hard time finding a home, as they do sometimes. So this includes the areas of South Central Nebraska, Dakota City, and things outside of the state of Iowa. And we currently have a recruit that's living outside of the state. So a academy rule is if we do not have an ordinance in place, they will not be certified as a peace officer once they graduate from the academy. So we have a candidate that's going to be graduating in 5 weeks, and we'd certainly like him to be certified so he can work for us. So it's really formalizing a policy that we already have in place.
Any questions for Kevin?
What is our policy in place? Right in place.
What is written here was the policy of.
This is the was policy.
Yeah, it's just, so it's word for word, it'll just become an ordinance.
I see.
Yeah, I think it was a dozen years ago when Stu was up there, because we had to modify the policy a little bit and give it more time for this. If you didn't make it in 6 months, it is another 6 months adequate.
The majority of them do make it within 6 months. We do have a recruit right now. He's just having a difficult time finding a home, so we're going to give him a little bit more time.
Did you give him Clark's? Did you give him Clark's?
Yeah, he's got numbers. He'll find a home.
Are we getting close to Clark?
But yeah, okay, I was just kind of curious as to this, because I know the while back, and I don't want to go down a bunny trail too far, but I know a while back, a few years ago, I had brought up making certain requirement, like for instance, department heads should live within or whatever, and I was told we can't do that.
This is strictly police department, and a police department can set a reasonable distance to its headquarters, and that's right in the Iowa code. So
Can we add fire to this also, or is it, am I getting outside now?
That's up to them. That is pretty much what the fire plan is, I think, within 15 minutes to the headquarters, I believe.
I think, of course, we were talking about maybe water and sewer, because sometimes their phones went off. and they were outside the city, was that gonna give them enough response time to get in if there's a water or
Right,
sewer
right.
spill? And I don't think we could make them, it was a policy but not an ordinance. This one we're just making as an ordinance, just for police, just to follow the state law.
All right.
But the state law has been in place forever, our policy's been in effect forever, and we've never done it. I've been here 27 years.
We've never had a position where we have somebody living outside the state, that's,
And I think that's where it gets into being.
right.
Okay.
You know, we could look into, trying to make something more uniform for everybody. I know when I was hired, I was told I had to live within 2 miles. That's kind of gotten laxed over the years. There's some that don't live within 2 miles.
Right.
Throughout different departments, whether they're a department head or just, or an employee. You know, and I think the water department, they have some kind of requirement that they have to be able to respond within a certain amount of time, or get to the treatment plant within a certain amount of time. So whether or not we can have something more uniform, I don't know.
Okay, I was just curious.
Okay,
Definitely not opposed.
thanks, Kevin. Any other questions for Kevin? Thank you, Kevin.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, entertaining a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance number 960 to amend the Lamar's Code of Ordinances, Chapter 35, Police Department.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second to approve the first reading of the ordinance number 960 to amend the Lamar's Code of Ordinances, Chapter 35, Police Department. Could we have a roll call on that, Bev?
Nelson.
Yes.
Knapp.
Yes.
Conlon.
Yes.
Wick.
Yes.
Goodchild.
Yes.
Normally, I'd say
You don't have-
don't waive the second and third, but this is kind of I think it's silly to wait for time.
Kenny, I'll go along with the third one, but not the second one. Let's give it 2 weeks and see if people have any comments. I don't like waiving them. If we were in a push, I would, but I think it's moot, so I won't support waiving it, but if you want to, go ahead. That's up to you guys.
Or we can just do the second and third next meeting.
Yeah.
That's my,
Okay.
Okay.
That should work, because then.
I'll make a motion to waive the second and third readings of ordinance 960 to amend Lamar's Code of Ordinances, Chapter 35, Police.
I'll second that motion.
Motion made and second to waive the second and third readings of the Code of Ordinance number 960 to the, what was the last of that, Mike?
What it says here.
We're gonna waive them both.
Just
Okay.
waive both readings.
All right, you got it down, Rick, or Bev? All right, thank you. Okay, moving on to, oh, I'm sorry, got a roll call.
Wick.
Yes.
Goodchild.
no.
Knapp.
No.
Conlon.
Yes.
Nelson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Is that you fourth?
So I don't think 3 works.
I believe so.
3/4 we would need, so 3/5, not 3/4.
So we'll do it next meeting.
Okay. Boy, I tell you, these rules change every time I come in here, you
We just
know.
gotta make it interesting for everybody.
Here I practice up on all this stuff and then still screw it up. Okay, moving on to number 3, or E2, the request for rezoning of the KNS 4th edition. At September 15, 2020 meeting, the council held a public hearing and approved the first reading of ordinance 959 regarding the proposed zoning change of KNS and the 4th edition from R, which is rural, to R1, which is residential district. At its August 11th, 2020 meeting, the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended the zoning change. The administration recommends the council approval. If there's any questions on it, I'd be most happy to answer it.
Motion to approve the second reading of the ordinance number 959, amending zoning districts.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second to approve the second reading of the ordinance 959, amending the zoning districts amending zoning districts. Do we have a roll call on that, Bev?
Donlin?
Yes.
Knapp?
Yes.
Goodchild?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Wick?
Yes.
Motion carried. You want,
Motion waiving third reading of ordinance 959, amending zoning district.
is there a second on that?
So moved.
Motion made and second to waive the third reading of the ordinance 959, amending the zoning districts. Could we have a roll call on that, Bev?
Donlin?
Yes.
Wick?
Yes.
Goodchild?
No.
Knapp?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Motion adopting ordinance 959, amending zoning districts on a second reading.
Second to the motion.
Where are you at?
I'm at the very bottom down here, see, just a motion to adopt
There's
959,
three.
amending zoning districts, and then Doug got a call roll.
There's been a motion second to adopt the ordinance 959, amending zoning districts on its second reading. Can we have a roll call on that, Bev?
Donlin?
Yes.
Wick?
Yes.
Goodchild?
Yes.
Knapp?
Yes,
Yes.
Motion carried.
this is why you get extra pay too, so you gotta read all this stuff. I can know stuff.
Okay. All right, moving on to E3. This has to do with the partial early redemption of the water revenue improvement and refunding bonds. The city previously issued a $5,865,000 water revenue improvements and refunding bonds, series number 201-212B, dated December 6, 2012. Of this issue, there is currently $1,690,000 outstanding, of which a portion matures June 1st of each year through 2028. The interest rates on the remaining principal range from 1.85 on the portion due in 2021 to 2.7 on the portion due in 2028. The water fund currently has a balance of over $3 million. It is proposed that the city use 1